Namaste, everyone. A very warm welcome to Multidimensional Soul YouTube channel. This is Akanksha. We covered a lot of topics on this channel, and some of you may be familiar with our podcast. We have had guests from across the world on this podcast. I also share some channeled messages on this channel. So we have different initiatives and there are different playlists on this channel, so you can check out all of that. This particular initiative is created as a tribute to my son and spirit guide Arnav. My teenage son crossed over in 2020 and he has become my spirit guide, and he guides me from a very high realm. In this particular audio books, audio lectures kind of series, we take some books and lectures and articles and talks of ascended masters, and we share them in the audio format. I try to record them in my voice, as in read them and record them in my voice. It's always not possible, and some of them are AI generated. The intention is to spread the wisdom and knowledge which has been there since ancient times from spirituality perspective, from the perspective of oneness. Whether it's a podcast, whether it's an audio book, or any other videos on this channel. If you're tuning in, the intention is that you receive all the love, light, wisdom, knowledge, peace, bliss, abundance, and prosperity. So, thank you so much for tuning in and absorbing all of this and spreading all of this. If you are new here, subscribe to my channel. If you have already subscribed, welcome back. Now we will move to the audio lecture or article or talk for today. Lots of love. Namaste.
Miracles of Raja Yoga by Paramahansa Yogananda. A miracle is commonly considered to be an effect or event without law, or beyond law. But all events in our precisely adjusted universe are lawfully wrought and lawfully explicable. The so-called miraculous powers of a great master are a natural accompaniment to his exact understanding of subtle laws that operate in the inner cosmos of consciousness. Nothing may truly be said to be a miracle, except in the profound sense that everything is a miracle. That each of us is encased in an intricately organized body, and is set upon an earth whirling through space among the stars, is anything more commonplace? Or more miraculous? Quote from the autobiography of a yogi. Raja Yoga, the royal yoga, is the science of God realization, a step-by-step means of reuniting the soul with spirit, man with his creator, developed by the rishis of ancient India, with proven and uniform results. Raja Yoga was masterfully systematized by the great sage Patanjali in his Yoga Sutras. It combines the highest from all other yoga disciplines, devotion, right action, physical and mental self-control, and divine communion through scientific techniques of concentration and meditation. The fulfillment of the path, God realization, makes all things possible, for it teaches how to make the mortal immortal. The West excels in the physical sciences, which give us material knowledge and inventions. The East excels in spiritual science, which tunes the soul to the infinite. I find that the people in America, however, are yet very uneducated in the spiritual science and real truths of the East. There are many misconceptions. The real spiritual savant is not a magician or fortune teller. While I was in Seattle, I went to the immigration agency to apply for a visa to go to Vancouver, British Columbia. It was on that occasion that an immigration official became sarcastically fascinated with my ochre turban. I had waited in the office for some time, but the man at the desk made no attempt to attend to my wants, or even to acknowledge my presence. So I tapped on the counter to attract his attention. This finally succeeded in getting him to arise reluctantly from his desk and inquire as to my business there. The officer looked at me with scorn, his eyes fixed on my turban, and said, "Do you gaze at crystals, tell fortunes, swallow swords? Are you a snake charmer?" I assured him that it was not my purpose in America to tell fortunes or charm snakes. I was not a fakir. I had come to ask for a passport to Vancouver. I was told to come back the next day. The following day I returned with a book I had written and copies of some of my poems. I said nothing but presented these to him. He was surprised. When he had obligingly read a few lines and had a look of apology in his eye for his rash inference, I looked at him smilingly and said, "Dear officer, did you know that the Hindus never had any factory where they knew the art of making crystal balls? Crystals are of Western origin. Hence it is news to me that the Hindus gaze at crystals. As regards fortune tellers, there are quite a number right here in America as well as in India. But whenever you meet an American gentleman, do you ask him, 'Are you a fortune teller?' Every Hindu is not a fortune teller. They don't believe in flattering an unmarried woman by telling her fortune, saying that she is going to have a good wealthy husband, and then relieve her of $3 or $4 for this contrived forecast. Wise Hindus can teach you how to solve the problems of life and change your fortune. Your present poverty or opulence, disease or health, is brought about by your own past actions, and your present life and actions will determine your future. Spiritual savants can diagnose scientifically how the law of cause and effect applies to human actions and lives. They do not believe in fate, a predestined happening without a cause. They do not fool people by predictions conjured through the trickery of imagination, equivocal words, or fraud. The real Hindu astrologers make a scientific study of the law of causation governing human actions. And they do not merely tell you your past or predict your future, but rather teach you the art of averting an unwelcome event or stimulating the fruition of a desirable event coming to you as a result of your past evil or good actions. Good astrologers tell their students only what will benefit them, not what will merely satisfy idle curiosity. They say there is no use in telling you what is coming to you anyway unless there is a way to control or regulate that self-created destiny. Sometimes ignorance is bliss. I said to the immigration officer, "Sir, I haven't had the singular, dangerous experience of swallowing swords or taming cobras, which our masterful street magicians often do in open daylight before the scrutinizing gaze of people. Though some may possess unusual powers, they are at the same time skilled in sleight-of-hand tricks. They perform magic by producing optical illusions. Therein the Eastern magician is superior to his Western counterpart." Then, in a light mood, I challenged the officer. "I have seen some hypocritical Western people wearing hats and dress suits, but I never connected hypocrisy with the wearing of hats. How did you happen to connect snake charming with my turban?" By this time the prejudicial wrinkles in the officer were smoothed out. In a very friendly tone he said, "I am sorry. No doubt many good turbaned Hindus have to suffer the persecution of public opinion because some turbaned Indians have produced a wrong impression on our people." I responded, "You cannot expect all Hindus to forsake turbans because some Hindus are far from exemplary, just as I do not expect all Western brothers to forsake their hats because some have practiced hypocrisy while wearing hats. Western tourists go to India and see our poorly dressed coolie laborers and watch the performances of the street magicians or fakirs, and they think the Indian needs to wear swallowtail coats and neckties to be civilized. Customs and mannerisms are non-essentials resulting from certain climatic influences. The real development of man consists of the development of his mind power. So, the American tourist visiting India must take care not to misconceive the real yogis of India. The real yogis are distinctly different from the magicians, sword swallowers, instantaneous mango tree growers. The latter are mere entertainers. The former are great souls, very difficult to recognize because of their quiet, unassuming ways and simplicity, yet possessing divine knowledge and miraculous powers like those demonstrated by Christ. As Jesus said, "Except ye be converted, and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven." It is through divine simplicity and humility that one can attain great breadth of power and vast wisdom. Physical and mental miracles, the need for Raja Yoga. All creation is governed by law. The principles that operate in the outer universe, discoverable by scientists, are called natural laws. But there are subtler laws that rule the hidden spiritual planes and the inner realm of consciousness. These principles are knowable through the science of yoga. It is not the physicist but the self-realized master who comprehends the true nature of matter. By such knowledge Christ was able to restore the servant's ear after it had been severed by one of the disciples. Quote by Swami Sri Yukteswar, in Autobiography of a Yogi. There is no difference between physical laws and super laws or miracles worked by the knowledge of the mechanism of the human mind. The Americans work miracles through use of physical laws. Advanced yogis work mental miracles. The operation of radio and telephoto cameras are still miracles to many Hindus, and the workable miracles of the mind so often displayed by the yogis of India are unknown to the Americans. In these days of marvels of constant inventions, it would be wise for the Americans to at least investigate thoroughly the discovery of spiritual miracles by their Hindu brothers. Miracles are nothing but the operation of supramental and cosmic laws. Jesus and the masterminds of India know how to operate them. To ordinary people such works appear as miracles, but they are really the result of natural operation of certain higher, hidden laws. Yoga unites mind power with cosmic power. The Raja Yoga principles of concentration were easily practiced even by the Rajas or royalty of India who were engrossed with the multifarious duties of their states. These methods, which bring power over one's own destiny and which can turn failure, material, moral, social, or spiritual, into success, can fit in equally well with the busy and worried life of the Western Rajas and Maharajas, the American millionaires and billionaires. Human nature is everywhere the same. The American needs poise and spiritual strength just as much as the Hindu does. The American makes the machine work hard for him, while the Indian has to make his living by doing his work manually. Theoretically, therefore, the American businessman has more time than the proverbially spiritual Hindu to devote to developing mental miracles. The superiority of acquiring miraculous mental powers over the acquirement of business skill is that the former has no limitations as does the latter. The ordinary intelligent businessman may be broken down by hard competition. When his business intelligence is exhausted, he utterly fails. But the Hindu savant says that when the intellectual resources give out, one does not need to give up. He can use his unlimited superpowers for the materialization of a desire. As God is all-powerful, so also, by Raja Yoga, uniting with him consciously, man likewise becomes powerful. In trying to cure chronic disease, acquire success, or attain peace of mind through physical means, there are limitations. Everything is governed by the law of cause and effect. If you try and have tried repeatedly and still do not succeed in curing your physical and mental ills, you must find wherein lie your limitations. Why hope and expect success to result from the use of a limited force? You need to open the door within to learn supermiracle powers by which life can be fully developed. Otherwise, you live in a state of gambling with your self-created destiny. See the state of mind of so many people. They think they are so wise, all rushing for money to satisfy their desires for security and pleasure. They use their life like a train speeding to one goal, money, money. Failing to use reason to see where this course will take them, they play with material ambitions until they are spirited away from this earth empty-handed. Life in such an existence is tasteless, meaningless. What is the purpose of our life here and beyond? The masters teach the method by which everyone, even the most materially successful with all their diversions and comforts and wealth, can make life complete, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Behave as master of yourself, guided not by habits, but by free will and the wisdom of God realization. You have the privilege and choice to make your own heaven right here, you have all the means to do so. God has given you the power to know Him. In Raja Yoga He has given you the science of how to direct your mind to Him, the real science of prayer by which you can contact God and commune with Him. Miracles historically recorded. I will relate a few authentic, historically true, miraculous achievements of the yogis of India, showing that they lived far ahead of the modern times and performed miracles still far remote from the comprehension of modern material science. About 70 years ago, the holy city of Benares was agog with the miracles of Trailanga Swami, Supa 3/Sup. He was 250 years old, and it is said he used to remain below or floating on the surface of the Ganges 2 or 3 days at a time. He read people's minds like books, he drank poisonous liquids by bowlfuls without dying, and seemingly had done all kinds of miracles, as did Jesus Christ. The story goes that once, for disregarding the laws of the city, he was put in jail. He was seen walking the next minute on the roof. He had many wonderful powers. Can science tell us of anyone else who has lived for 250 years? Another miracle of Raja Yoga was demonstrated when Sadhu Haridas permitted himself to be buried alive underground for 6 weeks. In the 19th century, in the court of Prince Ranjit Singh, Emperor of the Punjab, and under the seal of French and other European doctors, the miraculous performance of Sadhu Haridas was historically recorded. After Haridas's body was waxed all over, sewn securely in a sack, and then sealed in a stone chest, the emperor buried the sadhu several feet below the earth in the royal courtyard. Careful watch was maintained over the site for 6 weeks. Millions of people waited for the news about the sadhu's disinterment after the 6 weeks had passed. The stone chest was opened, the cloth and wax were removed, and the body was examined by French and English doctors and pronounced dead. Yet in a few minutes Sadhu Haridas blinked his eyes and came back to life. Boom! Went the cannon from the ramparts of the emperor's fort at Lahore, Punjab, India, heralding and declaring that Saint Haridas was alive. In any comprehensive historical book on India this occurrence will be found recorded. Even to this day there are saints who once in a while publicly demonstrate miraculous powers. My teacher's teacher, Lahiri Mahasaya, was seen by my mother in an ecstatic state in which for a prolonged time he suspended all life processes. To the awe of all beholders, Lahiri Mahasaya's habitual physiological state exhibited the superhuman features of breathlessness, sleeplessness, cessation of pulse and heartbeat, calm eyes unblinking for hours, and a profound aura of peace. No visitors departed without upliftment of spirit, all knew they had received the silent blessing of a true man of God. As quoted in the autobiography of a yogi. But it is considered a spiritual degradation and blasphemy against God's laws for great yogis to demonstrate their powers merely to satisfy the idle cravings of curiosity seekers. It took me a long time to recognize the miraculous power of my master, Swami Sri Yukteswarji, though I had close contact with him. My master showed me the unfailing power of God. Sri Yukteswar was reserved and matter-of-fact in demeanor. There was naught of the vague or daft visionary about him. His feet were firm on the earth, his head in the haven of heaven. My guru was reluctant to discuss the superphysical realms. His only marvelous aura was that of perfect simplicity. In conversation he avoided startling references, in action he was freely expressive. Many teachers talked of miracles but could manifest nothing. Sri Yukteswar seldom mentioned the subtle laws but secretly operated them at will. A man of realization does not perform any miracle until he receives an inward sanction, Master explained. God does not wish the secrets of his creation revealed promiscuously. Also, every individual in the world has an inalienable right to his free will. A saint will not encroach on that independence. Quote from the book, Autobiography of a Yogi. I have seen many miracles performed by my guru, and of all the wonderful things witnessed, I shall declare to the world that I secured my AB degree through his miraculous power. During my college days, I used to visit and stay with him in his ashram almost every day, absorbed in the wisdom of his presence and in the practice of meditation. My studies were so much neglected that I hardly knew where my college books were. 5 days before the university examination, I told Master I wasn't going to appear at the examination. His warm countenance changed suddenly, and he said, "Then all my relations with you cease this instant." He insisted and said, "All I ask of you is to appear at the examination." He declared I would pass even though I had not studied. I agreed reluctantly, thinking just literally to carry out his behest, to appear, and that I would fill up the answer pages with his teachings. Next he asked me, at first gently, then vehemently, to seek the help of a certain friend of mine, Romesh Chandra Dutt, an honor student. Every morning of all those days that my AB examination lasted, I was to ask Romesh whatever questions came to my mind, and to remember his answers. Romesh tutored me in my various subjects and answered all my queries. This Calcutta University AB degree, in some respects, is more difficult to obtain than even a Harvard AB degree. There is so much injustice and difficulty set in the path of those being examined. I did as Master told me, and strange to say, I found in my examinations the very questions Romesh had been unconsciously guided to tell me to prepare for, or for which he had provided answers in the hours of his tutoring. After the first day I confidently declared to the world that I was going to pass, and when indeed I received the AB degree, my father and friends, who had given up all hopes about the success of my college life, told me I had performed a miracle. That is why I am fond of putting the AB after my name in all my books and articles. The title reminds me of this singular experience and blessing bestowed by my guru's divine power. When I had questioned Master as to how this had become possible, he just replied that faith, works, and knowledge of supramental law can work miracles, where physical efforts of man fail. I remember that a friend of mine, seeing me a devout follower of Master and negligent of my studies, had once ridiculed me and said, "I am sorry to tell you that your guru and God won't make you pass your examinations." And half in faith and half for the sake of argument, I replied, "Why not?" Little did I dream at that moment that I would see such a dramatic fulfillment of my declaration. My Master is still living in flesh and blood in India, and I dare not tell all the wonderful things I have seen. This much I can say, throughout the whole Western world I have not found a single one like him. I would accept all the poverty, famine, inconveniences of life in India in preference to the comfortable American life, to sit at the feet of one like my Master. By the mere touch of the hand or feet of a God-realized Master, a receptive disciple becomes entranced in the great Spirit of God. Direct knowledge of laws of truth. Spiritual advancement is not to be measured by one's displays of outward powers, but solely by the depth of his bliss in meditation. How quickly we weary of earthly pleasures. Desire for material things is endless. Man is never satisfied completely and pursues one goal after another. The something else he seeks is the Lord, who alone can grant lasting joy. After the mind has been cleared by Kriya Yoga of sensory obstacles, meditation furnishes a twofold proof of God. Ever new joy is evidence of his existence, convincing to our very atoms. Also, in meditation one finds his instant guidance, his adequate response to every difficulty. Quote by Swami Sri Yukteswar, in Autobiography of a Yogi. Americans who are good listeners and love real progress now ought to go deeper than mere listening to the philosophical message of India's spiritual science. They should learn the technique by which the super miracles of the mind can be understood and the higher laws applied to make life not only financially successful, but blissful in every way. Thinking and knowing are two different things. If you follow the lessons of this Raja Yoga teaching of Yogoda, you will have something you never had before in your life, direct perception of truth. I know I can follow what my guru and Param Gurus taught and have realization, rather than suffer spiritual indigestion from swallowing beliefs blindly or trying to assimilate them intellectually. Belief founded on dogma or mere intellectual knowledge cannot support you for long when the evidence of the world goes against it. You must have the strength of conviction born of realization, then even mountains of obstacles cannot stand in your way. You can demonstrate the truth Christ and the great masters preached, Sup 9/Sup, it is your own fault if you let yourself be deceived. Seek wisdom. You cannot remain without doing something, be busy doing something worthwhile. That is what my Master taught me. His whole interest was to bring us in contact with God. People barter their happiness to acquire little things. God is the storekeeper of the universe, seek him, and the whole store will be open to you. It is your actual experience of God and truth realization that will bring you there. The inner door to divine power and bliss. How did Christ resurrect his crucified body? How did Lahiri Mahasaya and Sri Yukteswar perform their miracles? Modern science has, as yet, no answer, though with the advent of the atomic age the scope of the world mind has been abruptly enlarged. The word impossible is becoming less prominent in man's vocabulary. Quote from the book Autobiography of a Yogi. Success, wealth, cure of chronic disease, control over habits, all can be attained. If you exhaust all material methods and efforts, do not continue helplessly to solicit these impotent past resources. Open the inner door and vitalizing spiritual power flows in, all weakness and failure vanish. Why not awake to God's help? Have calmness born of concentration on spirit. Meditative calmness is a boundless reservoir of divine power. God is not partial. If you follow the law, you will find him. When I found him within, I found him in everything. Even as a little boy I yearned for God. I once wrote a letter to him. Yes, I really did, and I posted it addressed to God in heaven. Certainly, when we write to someone, we expect an answer. When no reply came, my waiting and expecting brought floods of tears. The answer came at last, not so many words printed on paper, but in a great vision of light. How wonderful! You can receive God's response if you will try, and do not give up. Put your questions seriously and feelingly from within, send them to God in your deep meditations, and, most truly, you will receive your answer. The Lord can be coaxed nearer to us only by the law and by love, by real communion from within, with unceasing yearning until there is response from Him. If once the outer wall of ignorance is broken by scientific meditation, He will show the door to His presence. Knock hard and keep it up, persistently. It will open, and the infinite powers and bliss of God will be at your command. Affirm with me, I and my Father are one, He in me, and I in Him. Peace, bliss, omnipotence, reign in me, in the God in me. End of chapter and article. The chapter, Miracles of Raja Yoga, is based on the compilation of a lecture and article of the same title, circa 1926-27, with quotations from Autobiography of a Yogi. This chapter is a part of the book Journey to Self-Realization, which is the third in a series of anthologies of Paramahansa Yogananda's collected talks and essays. The first, Man's Eternal Quest, was published in 1975. It was followed in 1986 by The Divine Romance. Included in these anthologies are lectures, informal classes, and inspirational writings, originally published by Self-Realization Fellowship in its magazine founded by Sri Yogananda in 1925, known since 1948 as Self-Realization. Journey to Self-Realization, like the two previous volumes in this series, provides readers with a generous selection of Paramahansa Yogananda's written and spoken words on a wide range of subjects, and offers as well a glimpse of the dynamic and loving personality of the great world teacher.
This is a series of audiobooks and insightful lectures brought to you by Akanksha, dedicated to exploring timeless wisdom and spiritual teachings. Each recording is generated with love, honoring my journey and my connection with higher guidance, especially in tribute to my son Arnav, who now guides me from beyond. May these words awaken the divine love within you, bring you peace and inspiration on your own path, and may divine light within shine bright. May whatever merit arises from these readings be for the benefit of all sentient beings. Namaste.